Welcome back to episode 2 of the GK Union podcast, World Cup edition. And you may have noticed the void between us. We're now down to 2. We knew Harry was going to be an intermittent guest at best through the World Cup because he's the busiest man in golf. But Jack, POV goalkeeping, he's just
shame.
Absolute shame. He's just fucked off. We booked this in. So anyone watching this will be acutely aware that round 3 of fixtures has started, and we admittedly have seen some round 3 fixtures. So if we talk about something that wasn't round 2 in this episode, we warned you in episode 1. This isn't professional. This isn't done properly. We're just 3 amateur keepers having a chit chat. So bear that in mind with the spoilers. But he specifically said to us, I'll be available before round 3 fixtures started. So we booked it all in, we were ready to go, and then like 15 minutes later, he's I've got to work.
Yeah, work called me in. I was like, but you were so excited to be here.
Yeah, just tell him no. And then he fucked off on holiday. Who goes on holiday during a World Cup when you've agreed to do a World Cup podcast? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it's poor. What for? Take that as well.
Yeah.
We've taken the hit.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, take that.
He's gone to watch Take That.
Yeah. Over this podcast.
He's gone to watch Take That. Look, he's like 23.
I didn't even think he knew what Take That was.
He wasn't even born when they came out. Why is he going to watch Take That? I mean, it's embarrassing enough as it is, but at his age, wow. Well, I can't wait. I can't wait for the next episode with him on. It's going to be 25 minutes of taking the piss out of him for that.
Might wear a Take That tall shirt.
Oh, he might do. We should wear Take That shirt.
We should.
Mug him off. So yeah, episode 2, round 2 fixtures. It's just the 2 of us.
Just the 2 of us. I don't know the rest.
Oh, for a minute I thought, wow, we're getting a little sing song here. We're going to dive. We'll start with the big thing, England. We'll start there. Probably not the result we were expecting, or maybe hoping for.
Disappointing, especially after the first game. We expected better. Knew Ghana were going to go out and play a low block like that. But disappointing the fact that the players that we have couldn't break them down at all, really. But there are a couple of chances, but we were... Ghana were good, credit to them. But
yeah, I definitely think credit to Ghana. I think they were incredibly disciplined. And I also think what's worth highlighting is the fact that it's not just 96, 97 minutes, I think the game ran for. It wasn't just like 96, 97 minutes of hard work. It's also the context in terms of it's tough conditions. It's hot. So to have that work rate for a full match and some deserves a lot of credit. And I think there's a tendency, both as England fans, but also from a punditry perspective, that when we don't get the result, it's instantly we pile in on our team and we go, oh, they were shit. We should have won that. We're never going to win the World Cup. What the actual fuck? And we overlook the fact that sometimes teams put in one hell of a shift and earn themselves a result that goes against the form book.
Yep.
What I also think, from my perspective, when I look at it in a bigger picture, I'm not too disheartened that we didn't win game 2. I would love to win all 3 games in the group. However, the toughest team in our group was Croatia, and they played probably in a way that surprised England slightly, in that they did come and press and they did put us under pressure, which for 10 minutes took us a while to work out, but then worked in our favour. As we go deeper into the tournament, we're going to come up against less and less teams that sit in a low block. So I'm more encouraged by the fact that the best team in our group, we put in a ridiculous performance and we won comfortably in the end, and it should have been way more than just 4-2. I'm more encouraged by that than concerned by watching us not nick a win against the team sat so deep in a low block, because again, when we go through into the knockouts, the next round, again, we might have a team that will sit in a low block. But as you go into round of 16, quarters, semis, we're not going to be coming up against teams that are just going to sit off. We're more likely to come against teams that are going to want to have more of the ball, who are going to want to put us under pressure. And I think actually, rather than panicking and being like, oh, we're shit, we're never going to win if we can't unlock a team like that, I think I'm more encouraged by the fact that actually when we've come up against a top side, we battered them.
Yeah.
Because in league football, if following Premier League and stuff, one of the criticisms of teams like Man United for a long time is good against the top teams when they can counter-attack, but when they've got loads of the ball, haven't got the quality to unlock teams. In a 38-game season, that's a problem.
Yeah.
In tournament football, as the shitter teams are going to drop away, it's less of an issue. So as long as you don't lose those games.
Yeah, that's the positive. We didn't lose, and we defended relatively well. Not the best defensive performance still, I don't think. And I was shocked to see Gay in ahead of Stones, unless it might just be like a fitness thing and resting him.
He definitely said it was... he went with him because I think he was concerned, obviously, around the pace that Ghana have up the top of the pitch, which kind of makes sense. But I still think my preference would be, if you're looking at defensive cohesion, I would prefer to see Gahey and Stones playing, because as much as Stones hasn't played as many games as he'd like for City, and he's probably not played alongside Mark Gahey as much, they will be training together every single day of the week.
Yeah.
For their club, so they will know each other's games, even if they're not starting matches together. So I do think that there's a missed opportunity for a bit more defensive cohesion there, particularly if you are going to play Nico O'Reilly at left back. If you've got three players from the same club in your back line, the understanding between them is going to be far better than if you've got a back four and every single player plays for a different club.
Yeah, I was surprised Riley didn't play.
I am going to put my head on the chopping block a little bit. I feel like O'Reilly's the new Trent. I feel like he's better in an attacking sense. And I think in the first game against Croatia, I think it highlighted some of his defensive frailties personally. And I think it's because, again, a bit like with Trent when he was at Liverpool, he's very effective in that final third. He likes to drift inside. I mean, when he came off the bench against Ghana, there were times where he was practically in the 10 and you're like, who's our fucking left back? But he's very, very good at it. He's good in and around the box. From an attacking perspective, he's really good. He is a better defender than Trent, but I don't think, if you were to look at England's best left back defensively, I would struggle to put O'Reilly in the top 5 from a defensive perspective. And I
could see it.
I think that might have been part of the reason maybe why he didn't play or didn't start the Ghana game, is because they have got a lot of pace up top and pace that can come from width. And there was probably a little bit of a thought process of, well, Jed Spence might be a slightly better defender. He's also very quick, so he can get on the overlap. I don't think he had a great game personally.
No.
But again, Jed Spence isn't actually a left. I would class him more as a right back, and thought he looked very effective against Croatia when he came off the bench on the right hand side. So maybe that was why he wasn't as good on the left. But yeah, I that's my view on O'Reilly. I feel like he's the next Trent in a way. I can almost see him having a bit of a Gareth Bale style career, where he begins to move further forward and plays less and less in the back line, particularly at club level.
Well, didn't he used to play further forward, and then he's gone to left?
Yeah, I think he'll get moved on. I think Maresca will come in, and I think he'll probably end up playing further forward again. I don't see his long-term career being a left back. He's good, but I don't think defensively, I don't think he's, and it might be his age, but I don't think he reads the game as well as other left backs. And it surprises me that you've got players like Luke Shaw, Lewis Hall, even Dan Burn. I still think one of his best seasons for Newcastle was a couple of seasons ago, where he played almost exclusively at left back. I would say those three are defensively head and shoulders above what O'Reilly can do. The difference is in that final third, O'Reilly has real quality, and he can create
master plan, isn't it? You've got people who can do multiple different things and not just one role of like defensive left back. You've got a left back who can attack.
Yeah.
Got a left back and a right back in one. You have Spence.
Yeah, and there's a lot of sense to the squad that he's picked, in terms of he's got a lot of players that are really versatile, rather than having out and out, this player only plays this position. The risk factor is, if they get injured, you then theoretically need to bring 2 players into the squad, because like with Reece James, obviously his injury, if that's as serious as they're letting on and he's not going to play for the rest of the World Cup, we now need a right back and somebody that can play CDM and potentially centre half. And you go, right.
That's not a problem. It's a good plan until it doesn't work.
Yeah. Like if you've got 1 or 2 of them in the squad, I think you can make it work. But when you've got 3 or 4 like that, it only takes for a couple of them to pick up injuries, and suddenly you've got space to bring 2 players in, and they need to be able to cover 4 positions. But yeah, that's my view on Nico O'Reilly. I think he's not a left back.
That was a very passionate rant about Nico O'Reilly.
Thanks for coming
like that for a while.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk on why Nico O'Reilly shouldn't be playing at left back.
And that's the podcast, guys.
Yep, see you next week. Actually, we've got some things to speak about, and obviously it's the GK Union podcast, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about left backs, believe it or not. So let's dig into that. For me, there's been some exceptional round 2 goalkeeping performances. It's a good job we sanity checked the notes that I've been making, because one of the great performances I was going to talk about happened in round 3, so we won't talk about that. However, for me, the big 3, you've got Curaçao's keeper made 15 saves.
Incredible.
Absolutely insane. And a little bit like we were saying with the chap from Cape Verde, Vozina, I think his name is.
Sounds about right.
It's something like that.
Yeah, similar.
Expectation going into their second game, they Curaçao got dicked by Germany.
Oh.
They had a great moment where they got back to 1-1, and they highlighted that I don't think Germany are as exceptional as they appeared in that game, and future performances have perhaps highlighted that a little bit. Oh dear, we've had a photo fall down. Maybe the fan's a bit strong. It's all falling apart in the studio. The perception going into Cape Verde's second game was, Curaçao's second game was, I think, very similar to Cape Verde against Spain. They're going to get dicked.
Yeah.
And
we've got no expectation to do anything. It's just kind of be there.
Yeah, and their keeper he's a man possessed. I mean, his first save highlighted it. It was like 2 minutes in, and they're played through 1-1, and you just think, oh, it's goal. I'm pretty sure everybody just turned away and was like walking back to the halfway line like, this is done. And the keeper just makes a ridiculous save, big down to his left, tips it round the post, and you just think, all right, there's something about this guy. He's not as shit as he looked against Germany. And that's not to say that he looked shit against Germany, but I definitely felt like there was a massive golfing class between their level and the rest of their group.
I'm pretty sure we had a conversation about the fact we thought we could play Curacao.
Yeah. Well,
after that game,
not least because their population is so small that we've got a pretty good chance that we'd be up there in the top 10 goalkeepers in Curacao. But I mean, it was an unreal performance. And what I liked about it is, yes, there's a lot of routine saves that, commentators will use phrases like, he should be saving that. But there were some actual class saves in there that show just that little bit of magic. And again, it could just be the magic of the World Cup. And he just elevated himself, and you do things on instinct that he's never really done before. And you go, fuck, where did that come from? Or equally, it's just the perfect opportunity for him to show that he's not shit.
Well, yeah, you can't be that shit if you're playing in the World Cup. I know it's.
I mean, you say that.
I know it's
I've also watched a lot of football from like the Saudi pro leagues and stuff, and these are professional goalkeepers being paid a lot of money. When you see the quality of the goalkeeping, I am certain I've seen better goalkeeping at Sunday League level than I've seen in some of those games. So I think
I've played in some of those Sunday League games as well.
Yeah.
What I remember.
Yeah. So there's always that part of me that looks at it and go, you can't simply say because they're at a World Cup that they must be good enough, because every now and then there's the anomalies. But I thought it was an exceptional performance from a keeper that, again, would have been going into it probably fearing the worst after game one, shipped a shitload of goals, and you're like, oh, could be.
Well, maybe that's helped because all the pressure's off, because they got absolutely spanked. 6 is better than 7, so
there is that. Care to explain? I'm nearly 40.
I don't want to.
That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, I think he's definitely up there for performance of the round. Croatia's keeper, Livakovic, I want to say it's pronounced. Don't care if it's not.
Isn't it?
That's what.
Of some kind.
You can get a cream for that.
I'm sure I do.
I'm calling him that because, I'm sure that's what his name was. He was exceptional again. He was amazing for that 20-minute spell in the second half against England, and then he had an absolute blinder in Croatia's second game. It was interesting. I was chatting to a mate of mine, and he was during the England game. He used the phrase, "He must be due a big move soon," we were both convinced that he was like 25, 26. He's actually 31. He's nearly 30, he's nearly 32. So he's running out of time for his big move, but he's definitely putting himself in the shop window at the moment.
Well, yeah, he says Croatia from looking completely embarrassing to somewhat competitive in all his games.
Yeah.
1-0, was it?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
He keeps a clean sheet as well, especially after England, he played really well. And it should have been a lot.
Yeah. And again, his saves, a lot of them are very good saves. Again, it's not like the standard routine where you know, again, no disrespect to the Curacao keeper, but when you total up 15 saves, there's probably 8 or 9 of them that they go down as saves, but it's bread and butter. It's not difficult. Whereas Livakovic, again, was just at it, making a number of unbelievable stops. And you just look at it and go, that's one player that is dragging them painfully through a World Cup.
Yeah, how to stood up for Croatia. Have they really? It's been him. It's always been him in the highlights or on the headlights.
Yeah, they're not setting the world on fire. Again, I think their issue is a little bit, and we might come on to this as well on the podcast. This is a little bit similar to the Argentina situation in that their team is set up for getting the best out of Modric. Yeah, in the way that Argentina is set up to get the best out of Messi. The difference is that most teams are a bit like England did, taking Modric out of the game. And if you do that, they've got very little creativity. They're not the potent team that they were that we met in the semis when they knocked us out. And it was just like, they were just class. They just had that something about them. I feel like they're just aging out a little bit. And they're a little bit too easy to control. Whereas with Argentina, and obviously the fact that they're set up around Messi, as everybody knows, you can have a plan and you can execute it to the best of your ability, but it just depends on whether Messi got the memo.
Because whatever we're doing is
well, from an opposition's perspective, you can plan it to the finest of details, and it just depends on what happens on the day. Because if Messi fancies turning something on, he just pulls it out of his dick hole, and he's unreal. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, it's terrifying. He's been so good.
Yeah.
So what's that? 5 now and 2.
Yeah, and it could have been more.
He's about 38 years old.
Yeah,
his last off the back from winning before.
He's a bit good.
He is a bit.
But before we go on to the rest of the keepers from this round, I think this is a great debate to have. Everyone loves the Messi-Ronaldo debate. What I really liked about Game 2 is that we had this conversation off air after the first episode, and your perception is after round 1, the World Cup was showing that Ronaldo at 41 is perhaps not at his best, and Messi is still very much at a top level. And I went in strong and said, I disagree. I think Argentina set everything up around Messi.
Yeah.
Portugal have got a squad that is packed full of players that do not play in a way that really facilitates what Ronaldo now is, which is an out-and-out number 9. He is the classic fox in the box. Anything penalty spot, 6-yard box, Ronaldo will get on the end of it and he'll get you goals.
It's funny you say that about the conversation we had. In the first, I was in some way against Ronaldo, and that's maybe why he didn't, the ball back in net for 6 yards out. But when they then played the next game, so it was like they listened to 2 head and they played exactly 2 Ronaldo.
Yes, and they
taste, and then it scores 2.
It scores 2, and the best bit about it is his first goal, a ball across the line in the 6-yard box, and he smashes it in. Great finish. Second goal, obviously, a little bit more on the counter. Bruno doing what Bruno does best. There was a great piece of punditry that I saw where they highlighted the communication between the two and the fact that as Ronaldo started to make his run, he then stops, checks, and makes a run back round the defender to give him space. And Bruno looks up and goes to play the pass, and Ronaldo tells him not to. He then makes the run and tells him where to play the pass. And the link up between the two is exceptional. But Game 2 highlighted one really important thing for me, and that's if you want to get the best out of Ronaldo, it's a bit like if Belgium are going to play Lukaku. Your best option to get goals, get the ball wide, put it in the box.
Yeah.
And it doesn't suit the players that Portugal have got. So that Roberto Martinez has got the worst decision to make. Do I sacrifice the majority of my players and what they're good at to try and bag as many goals as possible by putting it on a plate for Ronaldo? Or do you try and get the best out of the players that you've got, and then you end up almost flogging a bit of a dead horse by having a number 9 that's not going to be that involved, and he's probably going to get frustrated. It then might disrupt, a bit like in game 1, disrupts the balance of the team, because he's then going to try and drop deep and try and get involved because he wants some of the ball. And then when he gets it, again, not in a position to really be effective with it, it ends up reflecting what happened as Rooney was starting to age out with United, and he was our number 9, but he was dropping deep, picking the ball up just inside his own half. Get your head up, let me look forwards to my striker, and it's like, oh, that's me. And England saw it under pretty sure it was under Southgate when he first came in with Harry Kane, when Kane had that spell where he just kept wanting to drop deep and get involved. And every time he had the ball, it was like either just inside our half or just inside theirs. And he's looking up and there's nothing ahead of him. That's you, mate. Yeah. You should be up there. So, I thought for me, it was the perfect response from Ronaldo, because a lot of people were looking at it. Every big striker was bagging goals, obviously Haaland, Mbappe, Messi, and everyone's like, oh, Ronaldo's getting left behind. And thankfully, they put in more crosses in that game than they had done for
two different games.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's almost like I'm a tactical genius and I understand the game of football and how to simplify it. Yeah, I am. Yeah, that's me. But hopefully... if I cared about your opinion, that would be really painful. Anyway, we can't fall out because there's only 2 of us on this episode. We've got to keep all this bottled up hate for when Jack and Harry reappear.
That's true. Yeah,
and then we can just bombard them for an episode. Yeah, absolutely. But hopefully that's highlighted something that Portugal will keep doing, just so that, again, it gives an opportunity, I think, to see that one last dance from Ronaldo, from Messi, where they both go toe to toe, and hopefully have a really good World Cup, and it'll be good from a neutral spectator's perspective. Back to the actual important stuff, because I don't give a fuck about goal scorers, really. Yeah, it's boring as shit. Although we have got a bit to do about the most scoringest player, which is a technical term. Don't like using golden boot or top scorer. I think that's too overused. So most scoringest. Yeah, pretty good. I would be asking. Absolutely. I'd be in press conferences. Or who do you think is going to be the most scoringest player? Who's going to be the most passiest? Who's going to do the most assists? That's the actual word. Yeah, assistiest. That sounds like a disease, doesn't it? Oh, he's got assistists. Who do we think is going to take the golden boot? I feel like realistically, you're looking. It's a 2-horse race for me. It's Messi or Mbappe, unless Portugal keep playing in the way that they have. Ronaldo is probably the only player that can throw himself into the mix. I'd like to say Harry Kane. It depends on how deep into the composition we go.
Yeah, depends on if we play people who he's just the only chance we've done, but there'll be all your stops for them, and also Curacao.
Yeah. Also, I think a big part of it comes down to whether we stop starting Madueke, because as good as he is at running past people and he's very fast, he has very little end product.
Yeah.
And when you've got Harry Kane in the box, you don't need to overcomplicate it and try and get in the box yourself. Just literally knock it past your man and cross it. Just put it in anywhere in the 18-yard box.
I think his last 9 games in the fact that outside have gone to Gilbert over the
It's a bit fucking weird, isn't it?
70 million in our that. I agree with many members of the day.
He's a good player, but even when he went to Newcastle, all the hype when he went there, I was kind of a bit confused and a little underwhelmed, because I haven't ever seen anything from him where you go, he is going to reach. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit like Depay went. Did he went there briefly, and players like that, and you go, they're a bit shit. How have they good work by their agents, is what I would say. Whoever their agents are. If you're like a fairly average footballer, pro footballer, and you're watching this, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, and you're a professional and you don't work with the same agent that players like Anthony Gordon are working with, get on the phone to them. Apparently they can broker some unbelievable deals. Yeah. Even if you're a semi-pro, get onto his agent. He'll get you a move. You'll be playing Prem football in no time. But yeah, I agree. I think to get the best out of Harry Kane, at the moment, I feel like Gordon probably hasn't done enough to keep his starting place. I'm still undecided on where I sit with Rashford. I think he on his day, it'll be unreal because he is direct and he probably will create more chances. But I also thought, and I know he came on late in the second game against Ghana, but I didn't feel blown away by his performance either. I feel like we're a little bit lacking in that perspective, and that's another reason why I found it weird that players like Gibbs White didn't go, because he's created and scored the most goals of any English forward in the Premier League all season. Yeah. And you almost feel like actually playing him or Jared Bowen, even who is a wide player, I think they've got more of a creative head on there. Do you know?
Like, yeah,
I mean, I think it really works.
It's decent, but yeah, I mean, I'll tell us the Blake some stuff and it was like, I probably something the same thing.
I probably would have taken Bowen just because I think the end product's better. I don't think he's not as quick, and maybe he doesn't get in as many good positions as Madueke would because of it. But I do think he's got a better end product.
I agree. Yeah, quite. But obviously, it's a shame Sheffield's Madueke needs to start. And kind of what it's on the game, we only have one past players.
Yeah,
it's difficult to believe because of what the Australians show onto that.
Yeah.
But bring you my supposed to be the last on the side and the first and hard. But he's started, so
hopefully that will change as well, though, because again, the reason why he's been starting is obviously Saka wasn't 100% going into the World Cup, so hopefully he's not started a couple of games. If they don't start him against Panama in the final game, hopefully that's an indicator that he's going to start in the knockout matches.
I think it's a text last year in years ago, because if we don't win that game, there's an intention that we probably can't fit for. I'm winning it's very much what is easy, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I say an easy route, but some of the results are potentially going to put some decent teams into either second or third place, aren't they? So it's not guaranteed to be an easy next fixture. But yeah, I do think maybe we need a bit of change in those wide forward positions, certainly for the knockouts. Back to the goalkeeping before we come on to the other bits to discuss that are more traditional. Tunisia, the goal line save that from every single angle looked like it was in, and he's like full stretch. It does that brilliant thing where it starts like in front of the goal and you're like, well, I feel like I can see daylight between the ball and the line, and then it pans over the top and you're like, oh, we are literally talking about like a fucking gnat's cock width between the ball and the line. You go, oh yeah, it's no goal because it's technically from that angle not fully in, but it definitely had shades of it was Arsenal-Newcastle, wasn't it, with the goal that stood for Newcastle, where they thought the ball had gone out and there was like all these different angles where you're looking at it and going, I'm pretty sure it's out. And the inconclusive evidence from VAR went with the on-field decision, and they're like, well, if you look at it from this angle, it looks in. And I'm like, yeah, and if you ignore the 9 other angles where it looks like it's basically in the crowd, it was very much a little bit like that. But obviously adopting true goalkeepers union, what a fucking save. Unbelievable. And in moments like that, it's why I love goal line technology, because that is the kind of moment where didn't it cross the line? Officially according to the technology, no, and the wording of the rules in terms of the silhouette of the ball, what have you, it didn't cross the line. It certainly looks over the line in a lot of the pictures, but the technology is actually working in the goalkeeper's favour, because we've probably both been on receiving ends of making ridiculous saves like that, and enough of appeal from the strikers makes the referee point to the spot. Yeah, that's a goal, and you're like, don't think it was.
Yeah, line.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's a very faithful goal, isn't it? And he makes that save. Yeah. If they're It's kind of covers up his little butt.
I think it's one of those. Again, I also don't actually. They didn't show like the linesman's position in terms of whether he's in a good, like whether he's along the line or if he's slightly further back. Because again, depending on where he stood, if he's right along the line, he probably doesn't give it because I think his view will be slightly obscured. If he's not quite up with play and he's looking on more of a diagonal, it's probably one of those that gets given on the basis that it, from that angle, it probably looks more in than it does if you're straight along the line.
You should be able to give it
well, that's why we've got technology. I mean, it's a debate for probably when we get into next season rather than the World Cup podcast. But it's been my mantra of VAR when people say it's shit is that the technology's fucking brilliant. The issue is it was brought in to help referees who kept making mistakes. So who do they put in charge of running it? The same referees that kept making the mistakes. And they're like, oh, it's just not fixed anything. Yeah, because the referees are shit. Yeah, the same errorful users. Errorful. Awful. If that save wasn't the best save of the round, the Iraqi keeper tried to top it with his own bit of goal line mastery where the ball's cut back and he's sort of turning from his near post and it's fired in from fucking like a yard away, low and hard, and somehow he gets down, gets a hand to it, saves it, and then his defender bells like proper bells him up. You just turn and throw yourself in the direction that the ball should be heading in the hope that you get in the way, and it was a class save, absolutely class, and it's. The good thing for me is that all of the best goalkeeping performances so far haven't come from the keepers you'd expect them to come from. Everyone goes into the World Cup, oh, Neuer's there, he's going to be doing Neuer things. You've got Emi Martinez, like he'll be taking headlines because he'll be flamboyant and doing all of his crazy stuff and making these great saves. But actually, the best performances so far have all come from teams that you would expect to be getting battered. I mean, the Qatari goalkeeper, he got man of the match in game 2. Like, he was great in game 1, the man of the match for them in game 2, and you're just like, there are keepers that know.
Did he get man of the match in game 2? He did. 6.
Oh, then it wasn't game 2. Maybe he got game 1 then. Sure. Oh, maybe it's. Have they played their third game? Is that one of my spoilers? Oh, I might have just given you a. You did. Tune in for our next episode where we'll talk about that performance. But yeah, a lot of the top performances at this World Cup are not coming from the usual suspects.
Yeah, the very fact that they haven't come on. It's true. Still going to make their saves to Ismail's game.
Yeah.
Fitting in the league, like you meant, as I say, playing a lot of first class play, and they still got anything to say. They are wouldn't be listen to some of the other leagues. Still really for hard trial. Don't see it as much because he's a Edison Tell example in the
Not only that, I also think you managed to pick the only goalkeeper that's actually not a great shot stopper and is just a great footballer.
Again, he's saying a player with his feet or more. He's not his best example, I think. The first guys are getting done, but he's always things that is like they could so still do the same level. Just he's been to get some more exposure at the other. This is what we're having in this World Cup. Listen, play better than again it's 80. As a tail fade,
he did make some good. He did make some good saves.
So like although he's not the best, I feel like he can just do it and go cool upon things and makes some big saves.
He's got these moments, Alisson, and again, I hope it was the Hater game and it's not the Scotland game where he had a couple of moments with the ball at his feet where he like just dummies the striker as he's getting closed down, and you think he's class, he is, and then he's also just prone to trying to do the same thing and the ball just getting stuck under his feet. And you look at him and go, how is he Brazil's number one? Or he makes the weirdest like little mistakes when trying to play out. And you just think, I thought he was better than that. He's a real up and down keeper. Sometimes he looks maybe he's had a touch of the Joe Hart's. Maybe he got a little bit too big for his boots and his confidence went a little bit too high and his struggle to cope with preserving that level of effort that you need to be putting in when you haven't won something.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the pursuit for that first title brought the best out of him. Once he won it, it was a bit like, sweet, we're at the top now. But yeah, it's definitely been round 2 for me was definitely that round for the goalkeepers. From that perspective, there was a lot of exceptional performances. Do we think, obviously we touched upon it in episode 1, do we think we're now starting to see the keepers getting used to the ball as well? Because there have been more sort of flying saves, more acrobatic saves.
Through this game. Yeah, they spent time with it, so they'd be getting a lot more used to it, especially the conditions of actually playing in this game.
Yeah.
I think it's like a couple, can't they don't get on now, but there was a couple of still where it's flown past him and didn't get nowhere near it, and as you can see, I can't even get off the voice because it's just like directly down the middle. Doesn't matter. There's been a couple of examples of that. Not even many.
Yeah. I think and again, it's hard to tell whether it's just goalkeeping error in those moments or if it's the ball, because again, it's certainly been apparent that in round 1 there were a lot of goals that went in that you think actually more time on the training pitch in the conditions with the football, that they're goals against goalkeepers that you'd back them to say like week in and week out. Whereas, like I said, a couple of them that have gone in, could they be more goalkeeper error on that side of things, or is it still the ball from that side of things? You mentioned the conditions, and I want to bring this up on the podcast. It's not strictly goalkeeping, but I feel like the British punditry, commentary setup loves something to moan about. Premier League, week in and week out, it's VAR. Oh, it's a delayed with VAR. Oh, we're going to VAR again. Why do they take so long? Why do they need to look at it so many times? I've not heard that mentioned at all throughout the World Cup. But what I have heard every 5 minutes is the bloody hydration breaks. And is it actually a fucking issue? Because yes, it obviously interrupts the flow of the game, but it does that for both sides. And I view it a little bit like when you're playing on a really shit pitch and you're getting battered and, the pitch is shit. And you go, well, they're doing all right with it. Or if you're playing in like tough conditions, it's really windy, it's really wet. And you're like, they're doing all right with it.
I see a point that the only reason that might be different is because, so it's just momentum, isn't it? It's like, fully on top of your team. But whether doesn't really matter to that stage, it's saying like, essentially, the hydration rate. I think you could get absolutely. It's like when the bell rings in second team, you get absolutely peppered in 2 minutes, and then the bell rings like, you have a chance to kind of there's less stuff kind of recharge, getting some tactics. You don't usually get that in a game. You've got to kind of work out for yourself.
Yeah, and I do get that perspective in terms of it changes the flow of the game, and it removes the natural momentum that builds and the pressure that can build. So I do understand why there's an element of frustration from that perspective. I do think the rules should be pretty much like set around the conditions. If it's over a certain temperature, hydration breaks absolutely makes sense. And they should be kept to like maximum 2 minutes maybe, unless it's really hot.
Probably even say,
unless it's ridiculously hot. Like if you're in like mid to high 30s, then do you know what, a couple of minutes, 3 minutes might make sense in terms of like proper hydration. But so I get the frustration when they're playing like Dallas, for example, where it's indoors basically in a climate controlled stadium, and you're like, well, we don't need to stop for 3 minutes after 26 minutes. I also did get the frustration a little bit when, again, it might have been a round 3 fixture, it might have been a round 2 fixture where there was an injury, player was down for ages, and it was in like the 22nd minute. And they had to wait until the 26th minute for a drinks break. So they restarted played for about 36 seconds, and then had a 3-minute break for hydration. And it's like common sense would be like, look, he's getting treatment. Like, and most of the players had gone over, were with their coaches, were having a drink anyway. So you may as well go, right, we'll do the hydration break now. But I do feel like a lot of the hype around it, I would be interested to know if there's the same amount of hype with other countries broadcasting. or whether it's just the Brits and we love to moan about something and that's our public enemy number one for this.
I think it's more just the point of the hydration, because if they were actually just hydrated rather than just being around the pitch for the tactics, every tactics, and they were calling out a hydration break, but then playing many hours, wait until those ads finished to then restart play. It would be more accepted rather than just like, just going for a drink and finally the rest find something else to moan about.
Yeah.
No doubt. But I don't disagree with hydration rates. You need it, the same human beings that still got to run around on some games like 30 plus heat.
Yeah.
And still need it.
For everyone that takes the viewpoint of, oh yeah, but they're fit enough to do it. The trouble is, elite level sports people are very much like sports cars, F1 cars and stuff, in that they're so finely tuned, they're actually far closer to breaking than a lot of normal people are, because they are constantly under the highest level of stress and constantly pushed to the highest level. So yes, you get the absolute best out of their performance, but also they are always moments away from something going wrong, like an injury, like a muscle tear and stuff, because of how intensely they're working. It's not like you play on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday, non-league football level, and you might train a couple of times a week, and you can have lads turn up on a Sunday morning hanging out their arse from the night before, who've never do any form of cardio whatsoever. They're carrying an extra 20 stone that they don't need, but you put them on a Sunday league pitch and funny enough, for 90 minutes, they can make it look relatively easy. Like, these are genuine performance athletes. So I do also think that actually it's a sensible step in terms of allowing appropriate hydration, a little bit of active recovery in that side of things, because again, it will help minimize injury. But it's that fine line, isn't it? Like you said, it's one thing to kind of go, these are humans, these conditions are really fucking tough. They're also statistically far more likely to get injured under increased conditions like this because of the level of stress their bodies put under. But also, from a spectator's perspective, play the fucking game.
They're the rules of the game, aren't they?
Yeah,
that's how they've always been. So it should be how they are. But yeah, you got to adapt it to the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not just the fact that it's getting warmer. It's the fact that if you look at the advancement of football over the last 20 years, last 30 years, everything has moved. The needle has moved so much further. Obviously it's now an elite level sport. Whereas even when the Premier League started, players would still go out on the piss after the game, and players would still drink and smoke and stuff. And it was like, Arsene Wenger was the first manager in the UK to bring in any form of nutritional science. Like, until he came in, which was mid-90s, 96, 97, something like that, I think he came in. And yeah, it was
early 2000.
No, it definitely came in 90s, because their first title was 97 or 98, and that was his first title. So he came in mid to late 90s. He came in, and you think it's the Premier League, it's the top league in England. It was still considered one of the top leagues in Europe, and they're in a position where they're not even thinking about something as basic as nutrition. And when now you look at the sports science teams that they've got, the analysts and everything that goes into it, like, the game has advanced so much. And I think that things like recognizing hydration breaks are important is so key from that aspect, because it's not what it was before. And there was a great bit on ITV with Duncan Ferguson, and they were pointing out that James Milner has never drunk alcohol. He played until he's like 58 or whatever he was last season, most appearances ever, never had an injury. And they're like, and Gary Neville was like, there's got to be a reason behind it. He looks after his body perfectly. Duncan Ferguson goes, I used to drink all the time and I had 9 surgeries. You work it out.
Yeah.
and it's
I remember that.
But like, it's so true. Like, the game is so much more advanced. Everyone is so much more of an athlete. So I think I get a bit annoyed with all the hype. And yes, there's the fact that they're showing adverts and stuff, and they're 3 minutes so they can show adverts is frustrating. But actually, from my perspective as a fitness coach, as a sports nutritionist, I think it's fucking brilliant that athletes that are this finely tuned are finally getting an opportunity to actually get some active recovery and some hydration in, because it's going to maximize their performance. I think it's a cop out from teams in a way to view it negatively and go, oh, it's going to break our momentum. Because if you're on top, like, start with the same intensity that you stopped with. Go for teams. Go at them. If you've got somebody penned in and you're camped on their 18-yard box and you're peppering with shots and they go, we're taking a 3-minute break. The only reason why you wouldn't recreate that level of pressure at the restart all comes down to mentality. All comes down to mentality. If you restart the game with the ball, just do exactly what you're doing. Pass it quickly. You get in and around their box. Pen them in. If you restart and you haven't got the ball, you've just had a 3-minute hydration break. You're fresh. Go and fucking press for 5 minutes. Suffocate them back out of the game and stamp your authority on it. I think it's almost too much of a cop out to be like, oh yeah, the hydration break, like, it killed us. Why didn't it?
Yeah, it can work both ways. It can be a benefit now.
Yeah. But I think that's a mindset thing. And I think if you look at elite players, there's going to be clubs at this tournament that the hydration break doesn't alter the performance. They come back afterwards and they're potentially even better than they were beforehand. Whereas teams that I think shrink during it, that for me, that shows more of an issue with their mindset and their approach, and that they don't perhaps have the same level of belief to be able to recreate the momentum that they had prior to the break. It's my personal view on it.
Yeah. You can see it from both ways, can't
you? Yeah. But I just think it's
a very grey area.
It is. But I think the hype, the negative,
too much. Yeah.
It's like every 30 seconds it's being mentioned.
Because other than that, the World Cup's been absolutely perfectly fine.
Well, I was thinking this morning, actually. Going into it, there was so much scandal. There was the issue with the Somali ref. There was the issue with the Iran team and where they were going to stay, and the visas, and the amount of like staff members from different clubs or different countries that were denied entry, and all of this. And there was all this fucking mass hysteria. And Ian Wright like summed it up perfectly. He was like, this is going to end up being like the most controversial World Cup, just in terms of noise around it.
World Cup of chaos.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah. And I was like, building up to it, it 100% was, it just came across as just chaos, like so disorganized and an absolute mess. However, since minute one of that Mexico game, since that first whistle, it's been pretty decent. Like, the only thing anyone's actually moaned about has been the hydration breaks. There's not been any mad controversy. There's been a couple of interesting omissions from VAR, things that perhaps may have been needed to have been looked at that weren't. In the Ghana game for England, there was definitely I
was surprised we didn't mention that.
Definitely a penalty shout there.
Which one on though? Pickford or Konsa?
Konsa, definitely a pen.
That was definitely a pen.
Yeah, that was 100% a penalty. Don't know why that wasn't looked at. My only suspicion is that there must have potentially, was there an offside with that ball through to him? Was he ahead? And that's why.
No, they still would have looked at it and they'd be given it offside.
But again, maybe that's why it didn't go for review. Perhaps they checked the offside first, and like, when he's offside, so there's no point doing it, like going down that route of the check. Perhaps that's the only thing I can think of. But again, if that is the case, just communicate it back. The reason why it wasn't checked, he was offside when the ball was played. Cool, no worries, nobody cares. The Pickford one was an interesting one. I think he was lucky. I think the thing that probably helped him, if VAR did check it, there was an angle from behind where he's obviously come out. I think he's realised he's perhaps not getting there, and he's sort of slowed down and almost come to a stop. And the Ghanaian player actually lunges like forwards with it, and he has his stud showing a little bit. And I think that angle probably helped Pickford a little bit, because from open play, from every other angle, it looks like he's committed to something he's not getting to, and he's just very clumsily collided with him. I think the fact the Ghanaian striker stretched towards the ball made it maybe look like he initiated a bit more of the contact. But again, if that's the viewpoint, the only thing I would say in the moments where they've gone, why hasn't VAR stepped in, just some communication would be amazing.
Yeah,
just to say, this is what happened, this is why I wasn't looked at. Because I'll be honest, we're very used to the Premier League. Both of those would have had like a 10-minute break whilst they went and watched it with popcorn.
His own hydration break.
Yeah, 100%. And they would have like analysed it, slowed it down, got to every angle, zoomed it in to like 50,000 times zoom, and gone, oh yeah, there's like a blade of grass that came off of Pickford's foot, which touched the striker first. So I think that's why we've got to send him off. So I think the fact that they're not spending hours looking at stuff is a blessing, but communication for me, when there's been those weird ones where you look at it and go, there's got to be a reason why they didn't give it. Not that I'm complaining, because again, that would have been...
Oh, we would have been...
That would have been...
bad.
Yeah, down to 10 men, sub-keeper coming on, somebody getting sacrificed. That was in the first half as well, wasn't it? I picked for that. I was at the second half. So, but still with a chunk of football to play. And then obviously the Konza one was... I mean, I don't know what he's doing, other than just trying to chop him down at the hip.
He gets nowhere near it, doesn't
Just
he?
goes in at the hip. Just literally lunges at him. I don't know.
Yeah, in the dying moments of a game,
Yeah,
it wasn't really
0-0
smart.
as well.
That's what I mean. We were just getting caught, and they looked so much more threatening.
But again, part of me that again comes back a little bit to... I genuinely think if you play Stones and Gahey, because they understand each other a little bit more, maybe there is less situations that unfold where you're having to make a last-ditch tackle because that communication is a bit better. The players probably know who's going to push and who's going to sweep and who's best at that, and positionally it's maybe a little bit better. And perhaps because they're having to think a little bit more, they're not reacting on instinct like they would at club level, because everything's automatic. There's that little bit of, oh shit, he's not there, he's not going, and then you're making a recovery run and you're lunging in at the hip at somebody whilst your goalkeeper's also coming out
assaulting someone.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I can't remember where I was going with that, other than we got away with a couple there. But that's what we said.
Oh, was it VAR?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's been great that there's not really been much of the chaos that we were expecting. It's actually been a really good advert for the game. We've had some very, very small, low-ranked teams and nations that you would never have seen in a World Cup until they expanded it, give a great account of themselves. We've seen some great football, some good goals. We've seen some excellent goalkeeping, which from our perspective is always nice to see.
Yeah. And so I say it changed my perspective on it as well, because I remember I was completely against lower ranked teams being in there, but it's almost like the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I love the FA Cup. So I've swung my opinion on it.
Yeah, 100%. I think what probably helped is we had the debate at the start of the Germany game, just as they went 1-0 up, and you're like, I don't know why they put these teams in it. And 30 seconds after we had the debate, Curacao going to get a goal, and you're like, hey!
Yeah, I think I was their biggest fan after that.
I don't think I've celebrated a goal from a team that I'd only ever heard of 15 minutes earlier as hard in my life, to be honest. I genuinely don't. So, round 2, though, some interesting results. A little bit of the business as usual for some of the teams that perhaps came a little unstuck in game 1. Spain looked a bit better.
Yeah, back to their normal self.
They looked better. Portugal certainly looked a lot better. Germany, I was underwhelmed by them. I think they
lucky.
escaped.
The Ivory Coast were very good.
Not only were they very good, frustratingly, the only reason why they lost that game was by their own issues. They had that opportunity where they burst through. They're 1-0 up, 20 minutes-ish to go, something like that. Breaking down the right. He delays his pass. He waits for the perfect moment. Diagonal ball into the box. Can't remember who it was that was coming onto it, but he just needed to just hit it first time, and he takes the touch and tries to cut in, and Germany do what Germany do, and they just recover and they smother it, and you go, that was the game. If they score that, I genuinely think Germany end up in a position where it becomes another tournament they don't get out of the group, because I think and obviously part of this might be influenced by what happened in round 3 of fixtures, which we'll talk about on the next episode. But I just think that it showed their frailties, that game in particular, against Ivory Coast are a good team. Are they one of the top teams? Are we expecting them to go really deep in the tournament? Probably not.
But maybe we have underrated them a little bit, because I kind of writ them off straight away and said they wouldn't do anything.
That performance was very good. And I think for me, it highlights the issue that Germany have got is probably a little bit like what Liverpool experienced this year. Very good players, very big names. On paper, you look at it and go, very hard to beat. There's a lack of cohesion in that squad. They're not the Germany of old that are just so regimented, disciplined, and just
it for years.
Just like a machine. They are struggling for some reason, and it seems to be tournament football is where they struggle. In that they're just when they're good, and I know it's only against Curacao, but when they're good and they click, you go, fuck, what a team!
Yeah.
But when a team knows how to ruffle their feathers, they don't have that same German air about them, that air of like just...
Yeah, they'll always struggle against big teams like Spain and France's will always break them down.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if a team like Ivory Coast can look better than them and probably should have come away with at least a point and probably even
I
three.
think the most encouraging part for any team coming up against Germany was the equaliser in the Curacao game, on the basis of how easily they were able to counter-attack them and finish. And you think, actually, if you come up against England, for example, the way we played against Croatia second half, that level of performance from any club with players of the quality of an England or a France or a Spain, even Brazil, to be fair, we haven't even touched upon them. The way they're going about things at the moment.
Yeah, they looked a lot better, although they may have lost Rafinha now to injury until at least the round of 32 or 16.
Yeah, and that would be a bit of a blow, but it looks like Neymar's back fit, so again, maybe a little bit of a rejig. The key thing for me is, and I love it as a United fan, Cunha looks unreal.
He does look good.
Looks so good, and he just looks perfectly at home in the World Cup. I always thought he was a very good player for Wolves. When we signed him for United and we paid decent money for him, I thought it was a good signing, and he's looked the part in a United shirt. And second half of the season, I think he grew into it even more. But I didn't have it on my bingo card that he was going to go to the World Cup and look like a Brazilian forward at a World Cup. Like, when you think about certainly the eras that we've grown up in, obviously R9s, Rivaldo's, Ronaldinho, Neymar probably creeps in there. I don't think he's ever, in my opinion, ever reached the levels that he probably should have. I think he's a little bit more of a hype player than an actual player that's significantly delivered. But they've always had these unbelievable strikers. I see Diego Costa was an absolute fucking animal. I feel like Cunha's gone there and he's been given the number 9 shirt and he's actually reveling in it, and he looks like a traditional like Brazilian striker at a World Cup. And I think it's a bit of a concern, actually, because game 1 I thought they didn't look amazing. I thought their pace of play was a bit slow. I thought they looked like they were waiting for opportunities to open but didn't have any real intensity, and I thought they would probably struggle. They've definitely started to turn it on a little bit, and there's that little bit of Brazilian flair starting to
you can kind of see what they used to be like again. I just think all three of them play really well up top: Cunha, Rafinha and Vinny Jr.
Yeah,
they all complement each other really well, so I'm being intrigued to see what happens. Rafinha is going to be out for at least a game.
Yeah, it's it's probably one of those you might end up seeing Vinny Jr. move into the middle, Cunha maybe out to the right, and Neymar onto the left. Or, I mean, if
not, can Neymar even run?
I don't know
anymore. He seems so stiff.
Or you just stick him right through the middle and hope that he can get on the end of things. But I think that injury to Rafinha is that'll be a factor for them for how long he's out for. If it's one game, you can probably do all right. If his tournament's done, maybe that impacts them a little bit. But
already played, didn't they? You'll have to find out what happens.
Yeah,
if you haven't already.
But yeah, I think they've been a little bit of a surprise package, actually. After the first game, I was like, you can put them in a group of teams that will probably not go that deep, but they seem to have come on well. What's your, after round 2? What's your sort of outlook on things? I know we tipped a few teams to be a shock. USA, we mentioned after round 1. Again, second round fixture, another good win.
Yeah, but I thought Australia would do better. It was pretty disappointing, but USA just looked comfortable and control.
They did. They definitely did. The game that I enjoyed round 2, actually. I mean, there was a couple of absolute crackers.
I have one in mind that was my favourite.
Well, there was the Cape Verde 2-2.
Yeah, that was a good one. It's not the one I was thinking of.
A ridiculous game. And then we had, obviously, the Senegal-Norway.
Yeah, Norway-Senegal was my favourite. Or Switzerland versus Bosnia.
Yeah.
I thought Switzerland were incredible.
The pleasant surprise for me, Canada. Actually really enjoying watching Canada play. Like, they're quality and full of, like, it's exciting football. They're not necessarily the best defensively, they're not necessarily the best from an attacking perspective, but their work rate is absolutely insane.
Playing without fear, aren't they?
I think that's what it is.
Going for it.
I think they've gone into it thinking that on paper, probably the least good of the 3 home nations.
The least good.
They probably would have looked at it and gone, realistically on paper, you'd expect Mexico to do all right and get into the knockouts quite comfortably. You'd expect the USA under Poch to definitely get out of the group. Canada will probably be the nation that you'd look at and go, they might struggle to get out of the group. But I think they've been amazing. And what might help them, it's awful to see, it might galvanise them, but it's the injury they picked up, which was a fucking nasty one.
That was grim.
I also feel really sorry for the player that injured him. He's picked up a 5-match ban for that. And
really,
it was a 50-50.
Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't go in trying to break his leg.
No.
He went in to try and get the ball.
It was definitely a 50-50.
5-match ban.
He apologised on the pitch. He was in tears on the pitch because obviously it was evident it was a really bad injury. Like he was quite clearly very remorseful. He went into the change rooms afterwards apparently and spoke to the player, and it wasn't a disgusting challenge. It wasn't
malicious at all.
But yeah, apparently FIFA have looked at it and he's got a 5-match ban. And you just think, so the lad who's got injured, obviously his World Cup's done. He's got at least 5 months before he'll be able to even train again. And the lad that injured him is, he's got to obviously deal with that side of things from an emotional and mental health perspective. He's got to deal with the fact he's just totaled somebody. Yeah. But he's now just been binned out of the World Cup.
Well, he's not only been out of the World Cup, he might be binned out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So he might be out for the same amount of time. Maybe that's what they're doing it.
Perhaps he's knackered. Maybe he wanted to go on holiday. And he'd looked at the month of July and August and he was thinking a nice all-inclusive in Cancun, and he got a call up to his national team and thought, fuck this. Fuck this, I'm going to have something.
What can I do?
How do I get myself a nice lengthy ban that means I can just disappear off on holiday for a bit? But yeah, I thought that was just unnecessary. Like he got a red card. He's going to miss.
Yeah, it's a straight red. It's just 3 games, isn't it? Son did the same thing in the Premier, and he got 3 games. I think. I don't think he got 5 or more.
And the thing is it wasn't VAR that told the referee to upgrade it. Obviously, it was when he saw the state of the injury, he upgraded his own decision, because I think initially he actually showed a yellow, and then he was like, I'm going to show a red. That's a bad one. But that says enough. In that, if the referee's initial perception was 50-50, he's come off worse, it's a foul, I'll book him, I don't think there's a need to step in and give a lengthy ban. It's different if he flew into it, and obviously we haven't had the luxury of replays because of the injury. They haven't shown any.
I don't think I'd want to watch the replay of it. It's pretty.
No, annoyingly, I watched the game live and then I watched the highlights, and obviously they still showed the same angle of him lifting his leg up and his foot's like pointing to where the
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it was like off at an angle, but I think the thing that annoys me from that perspective is that it's not. From what I've seen, it wasn't a horrible tackle. And I know things got heated, obviously, in the game, and they got heated again after the game. But again, I think that probably comes from a place of influence in terms of you see what the state that the player's in on the pitch, and emotions instantly are going to boil over. Like players are going to react aggressively and angrily to it, because we both know, and anyone listening or watching this that's played football knows that you have that feeling of protection for your teammates. If something kicks off on the pitch, you pile in. One of my favourite, again, I always talk about Man United because I'm a massive United fan, obviously, but one of my favourite things that I saw of recent years was I can't remember, it was against Ipswich, so 2 seasons ago, and Delap was getting into a bit of a thing with, I can't remember who it was from United off the top of my head, and it was getting a bit physical, and Mazraoui just runs 40 yards and just shoves him to the floor, and I'm like, I fucking love that.
Yeah,
that for me is what being in a team is all about, is that you've got each other's backs no matter what. So I get the reaction from the players and from the staff. There's frustration. He's one of their better players as well, and he was having it was Kono, isn't it, that he got fucked up?
Yeah,
having an unreal game, having a great tournament. So I get that there's an emotional reaction from that perspective, but FIFA haven't got live emotion. They are looking at it retrospectively, and surely, unless it was an awful challenge, surely the way it was handled on field was enough. I don't get the need to be ruin your World Cup too, mate.
Yeah, I mean, likely this World Cup would have been ruined anyway. Shit, red's 3 games, isn't it? Was it 2 in a World Cup?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it? Yeah, whether it's 1 or 2 in tournament football. But either way, they're not a team that's going to go really deep into the World Cup. So I'd have just been like, fuck it.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
Particularly when you've got players like Ronaldo, and there was one other player, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, that they had to basically defer their 3-match ban for a red card because it would have meant they missed the group stage of the World Cup.
Yeah,
I almost would have looked at it in the same thing and gone, do you know what? This is an injury that it's a bit of a freak accident. It's a contact sport. These things happen. Yes, it's a 5-match ban, but that becomes that comes into effect at the start of next season. And just let him serve his 1 or 2 game or 3 game ban, whatever it is. And if his team get through to the knockouts, his World Cup's not over, because actually, in my opinion, that would have been a fairer approach. And you go, look, we're going to ban you, but see how your team get on in the World Cup, and then your ban comes effective for next year.
It's naughty when it comes down to certain players that the rules different. Because if Ronaldo did that to someone, do you think FIFA would ban him for 5 games for 1, or do you think they would enforce it straight away?
They'd have given him like a new award that they just created for like the most aggressive tackle.
You're the best player in the world at this thing.
The best injury caused award goes to CR7.
We shall reward you for GBH.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit unnecessary. It was awful, but it was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You don't want to see it happen, but then there's no need to kind of make out it is what it is. So yeah, disappointing for both.
It was.
More the player who broke his leg.
It was. Things are finally poised going into the final round of group fixtures. Do we think there's going to be any upsets? I know obviously we have some insight in terms of some of the games that have been played at the time of recording, but do we think there's going to be, with the fixtures that are left, any potential upsets? Or
I don't really, to be honest. I think I'd be surprised. I think the only upset that could happen is maybe if Ghana get a result against Croatia.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Then, other than that, to be honest, I can't really remember many of the games that are left.
I think the biggest upset for me, and this will probably upset a few people, and I'm here for it because it's all banter at the end of the day, the biggest upset for me would be if Scotland somehow managed to scrape through as the 3rd best team. It looks like they're about to...
Oh, God, yeah.
Looks like their World Cup is about to be over, so spoiler alert. But that would be a shock for me if they don't go home.
Unlucky. Yeah. You had fun, guys.
Yeah, with no Scotland, no pie.
I don't know. I'd still enjoy myself.
Yeah,
if they weren't there.
Probably more.
Yeah, I think it's more enjoyable when they're not.
But yeah, I think for me, I don't see too much drama in the 3rd round of fixtures. I could be wrong. I know there's been some individual results that we will definitely speak about on the round 3 episode, which were more of a shock, but don't really alter the outcome of who's going through in that.
Everything's all kind of set, isn't it? It's more just where they finish.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that in the next episode, which you won't actually have to wait that long for. We're recording that very soon.
We hope.
No, we are, and we've got a guest on for that episode as well. So because it was going to be just the 2 of us again, and I
don't even know who the guest is.
You'll find out.
When are we doing it?
Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Today is Saturday. Tomorrow we're doing it
tomorrow. Yeah, 2 podcasts in 2 days.
Don't get too excited though if you're watching or listening to this, thinking that we're going to be doing a daily episode all the time. Because as much as I would like to, everyone else seems to just have endless commitments. But what a way to round things off. I think final thought for me for going into round 3 for what I would like to see, and obviously I caveat this with I have seen some round 3 fixtures at this point, but I would really like to see in some of the games coming up, some of the keepers that have done exceptionally well. I just want to see more of the same. I want to see some more outstanding goalkeeper performances, particularly if there are going to be some of the lesser nations are going to be going home. I don't want to see those teams go home at a whimper with a bat like a hammer in. I would like to see some of these keepers that have made a bit of a name for themselves in the early rounds go and have a great final round 3 game. If it's enough and you can get over the line into the knockouts, amazing. If you're going home, go out in style. That's what I would like to see. What about you? What would you like to see?
I think it's the same. Just want a bit more, because round 2 is really good. If you get goals, got saves, You know,
there's not been many low-scoring games either.
It's been good scoring games. People have been going for it, kind of what they're saying, and people are going to be wanting to finish in the highest third place spot, so they're going to have to go for it. So just want more of the same, really. It's been good to watch.
Yeah. We don't want to see lots of great goals. We want to see lots of great saves, because that's what we're here for.
Unless you're Scotland, then we want you to concede a lot of goals.
Yes, ideally. Angus Gunn.
Yeah.
Just have a nightmare.
He always usually does.
Well, you would know firsthand, because he spent a lot of time in goal for Southampton. He followed that same pattern, didn't he, in terms of was a backup keeper for Saints, got an opportunity, looked amazing, got made number one, became shit. It just, there was like
we're good at that.
A runner, but
we bring the best out of goalkeepers in that sense.
Yeah, what you essentially need to do at Southampton is sign a great number one who doesn't play, and play your number two to get the best out of him, but never make him number one. So it's all about how you deliver what their role in the team is, because it does seem like any keeper that's ever been decent as a backup, when they get the shirt full time, they just go, oh no, that was a mistake. Actually that good.
Yeah, used to it by now, but
we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining. This was a longer episode than expected, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And join us for the next episode, where we talk about round 3, and it will be before the knockouts, so actually we won't have spoilers for you, which is great. And we'll be joined by a special guest, another goalkeeper. So yeah, we'll see you then, basically.
See you then.
See ya.